The soft light in the painting, Mary Cassatt's Silent Rebellion. Paris in the 1870s, the galleries along the Seine were filled with the smell of oil paint and the sound of arguments. Impressionism, like a newborn flame, ignited the clamor of the art world. Among these rebellious painters, one figure was exceptionally quiet. She wore a simple black dress, stood before her easel, and gazed at the light and shadow on the canvas. She was Mary Cassatt, a woman who crossed the ocean from America, using her brush to paint her own tenderness and strength within a man's art world. Mary Cassatt was born in 1844 in Pennsylvania. Her father was a banker, and her mother was well educated. Their home was filled with books and music. Yet, in that era, a woman's future seemed to have only one path: marriage and family. Cassatt was never content with such a script. As a teenager, she announced she would become a painter, a decision almost synonymous with a wild fantasy at the time. Her father said angrily, "I would rather you were dead than be an artist." But she just smiled slightly, packed her bags, and headed to Paris. In 1866, at the age of 22, Cassatt set foot on European soil. Paris then was a crucible of art, where the high walls of the Academy clashed with the wildness of Impressionism, creating sparks. She entered an art school but found the classroom rules suffocating. Female students were forbidden to paint the human body and could only copy plaster casts. She didn't complain. Instead, she walked through the Louvre alone. She copied master paintings, observing how light jumps between colors. She was self-taught, self-reflective, and created her own style. Her turning point came in 1877. That year, the Paris Salon rejected her work again, citing her brushstrokes as too rough. In her disappointment, she met Edgar Degas, the reclusive and fastidious Impressionist painter. Degas saw her paintings, and a flash of surprise crossed his eyes. "This is not a woman's way of painting," he remarked. He invited her to join the Impressionist exhibitions. At that moment, Cassatt knew she had found her battlefield. Cassatt's paintings had no grand historical scenes or romanticized depictions. She painted everyday life, the moment a mother holds her baby, the sight of sisters drinking tea in a garden, the gaze of a woman staring into the distance at the theater. On her canvases, light flowed softly, like the first ray of morning sun falling on a baby's face just waking up. Critics mocked her, saying she painted things too trivial. Little did they know, she was using this triviality to redefine the boundaries of beauty. Her masterpiece, Little Girl in a Blue Armchair, is a declaration of this tenderness. In the painting, a girl lounges casually in an armchair, her dress slightly wrinkled, with a small dog curled up dozing nearby. The composition has no affected poses, but is full of an intimate authenticity. It was the 1878 Impressionist exhibition, and Cassatt stood in the spotlight as an Impressionist painter for the first time. The audience frowned, and critics shook their heads, but Degas said the painting had spirit. She used soft colors and free brushstrokes to capture those fleeting moments. Her painting seemed to whisper, "Beauty doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It can be a mother's embrace or a child's sleeping face." Yet her legend lies not only in her paintings, but also in how she carved her own path in a man's world. As the only American woman among the Impressionists, she faced more than just artistic challenges. She couldn't freely visit cafes or theaters like male painters. She could only observe the bustle of Paris from a balcony or window. But she turned these limitations into strength. Her paintings always carry an outsider's sharp insight, a delicacy and loneliness that pierce the heart. Cassatt's friendship with Degas was a hidden light in her life. They admired and criticized each other, sharing an obsession with light and shadow. Degas once gave her a sketch of his own, inscribed with, "To Mary, the only woman who knows how to paint light." But this friendship was never flamboyant and never crossed any boundaries. Cassatt never married. She poured all her love onto the canvas and into the young artists she supported. She used her wealth to quietly support Monet and Pissarro, even paying for the venue costs of Impressionist exhibitions. She never sought anything in return, only hoping for art's future. She said, "I can no longer see the light, but I can still feel it." She began mentoring young female painters, encouraging them to break through constraints and paint their own worlds. In 1914, she passed away in Paris, leaving behind hundreds of paintings, each one like a tender love letter to the everyday. Mary Cassatt never stood in the spotlight of art history. She wasn't as dazzling as Monet, nor as tragic as Van Gogh. She was simply that quiet rebel, using her brush to give a name to women, to mothers, and to the soft light of daily life. Her paintings have no deafening declarations, yet in every play of light and shadow, they speak of a silent persistence. Beauty is quiet, and in every unnoticed moment, it still shines.